spontaneous gesture. This, though procedural legislation, has a lasting impact, and I wanted fellow professionals to understand what to look forward to before filing. The thought was more to collect all the details before upload at one go. Before I request CA Kandaswamy from Chennai to address the members, I have some points or questions to place before him. And for better clarity, we can discuss this after his presentation. The first question I wish to place is, why are there two stages? Form 10A now, and then to be notified Form 10BD later. As per the information available, 10A, when we file 10A, we will be allotted a number by CPC Bengaluru. Thereafter, we proceed to file 10BD, probably post 1st July. Hope my understanding is correct. This entire line of thinking seems to be to create a database of trusts and probably review them once every 5 years. The second one is more practical because it will help most of us to file. This, I have broken the applicants into 5 types for the sake of clarity. 1, the regular trust filing NGO society which has filed its 2020 returns and which will not encounter any issues in being allotted this number since they need not answer any questions from 10. The second part, which I have broken down into 4, where I would require the speaker to clarify, is those who have not filed their 2020 returns, either by default, no activity, omitted to file, or trusts like employee gratuity pass-through trusts, or those who have applied prior to 30th September 2020, those who have applied between 1st October 2020 and between 31st March 2021. So if we are to assume that the regular ones will file 1 to 10 and the rest of them questions full 1 to 21B. This was what was my second part of the question. And the third question, I'll keep it brief, is if the trusts do not have an irrevocable clause, what should they do? Should they amend their deeds prior to 30th June? And my last question is on the attachments, which I think I'll defer it during the question and answer session. With these few remarks, I would now request our Secretary CA Venkatesh to introduce our speaker of the day, Dr. Kandaswamy.
Good evening, friends. It is indeed a great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. C.A. Kandaswamy. He needs no introduction because already many members would have attended many of his addressing lectures on various subjects in specific to the non-profit organization and trust. He is the founding partner of Kandaswamy and Associates, and he has more than 4 decades of experience, and he specializes in the area of NPOs and trusts. He also holds a doctorate in the area of governance, engagement in financial management of non-profit organizations. He has been advisor of several national and international funding agencies on governance of non-profit organizations, financial management, and legal compliance aspects. He is the visiting faculty at social work institutions and adjunct faculty at management institutions and universities. Dr. Kandaswamy is a pioneer in developing a strategic invention method called financial management capacity building, which is used as an effective tool in several non-profit bodies, both in India and Asian and African countries. He has authored several books, in specific, The Law of Foreign Contribution and Foreign Hospitality. He has authored that along with Assistant Director of FCRA. He is very well known among our circle, and he has been awarded the Hind Gaurav Award and National Unity Award for Professional Excellence. We welcome you, sir, and it's an honor to listen to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, you can commence your presentation, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, C.A. Rajesh.
Before you commence, sir, Rajkumar, can you mute everybody else so that the speaker can go ahead? Makes it easier for him to present.
Okay, sir. I will mute them.
I am sharing my PowerPoint. Is it visible, PowerPoint?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
So, very good afternoon to all of you. Chairman of the association and the office bearers and the office bearers of the Coimbatore branch of the SIRC. It is absolutely my honor and pleasure to be with you all to share some experience and some knowledge on this particular matter, which is of current importance. At the outset, I would like to thank and congratulate you and also compliment you for joining this webinar on a topic that will touch the lives of lots and lots of people, if I can say millions of people, because each non-profit that you are associated in one way or another is touching the lives of so many people in this country. This country is, like islands of prosperity and ocean of poverty, and everything getting equalized today because of what we are going through in these days. And these NPOs are particularly touching the lives of the people through various activities, including the health activities right now. So it is such an honor to join you all and then to share my thoughts. Objectives, if I can say in 30 seconds. First is a quick overview, maybe 2 minutes, not more than that. This is really not necessary, but to put the topic in perspective, a quick overview of the NPO compliance today, what it is today. The second, of course, 95% of our time will be on the focus on the re-registration or renewal or validation. In so many names it is called today, this 12A or AA or 80G or 35123 or etc. And then the last, of course, as chairman has already advised me, I am open to discuss a lot of practical issues. And already the moderator has placed a few practical issues before me. Thank you so much for placing them in advance. So this is the objectives of the session. I hope this serves your purpose of our spending time together. So NPO compliance, if you look at an overview today, 3 sectors that are happening around the world. The business sector, as it has always been, is thriving, but today it is struggling. As we all know, what is happening to the economies of different countries around the world during the COVID era. The government sector equally struggling. We know how our governments are struggling. The state governments are struggling today. The central government is struggling today, including for so many things, but particularly for the COVID relief, COVID support today. We are witnessing what is happening in the country. But my point is, among all these sectors, there is another sector that is the non-profit sector, with which I have a very pleasant association for last nearly 4 decades in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, around the world in many countries. I'm simply amazed by the role of this sector. Even today, when they have facing a question, exist or exit is the question they are facing. Hundreds of them, thousands of them, whether they can exist at all or they should exit. That's the question they are facing. Even with that question, they are giving a best support possible. With my own eyes and hearts and minds, I am observing how this sector, with their own limitations, all the challenges, are providing support to the people who are suffering, people who are struggling in this COVID era. So anything, a time we spent is absolutely meaningful, because time we spend now is meaningful for many others in the society today. In the NPO sector, as you all know, there are subsectors, many subsectors. I can go on and on, but I'm just putting 3 of them before us for focus. Education sector, again struggling today. Schools are not able to function. They're not able to conduct the exams, and there's no exam, no money is coming. Even with the online facility, no money is paid, no fees is paid. And the health sector, I don't have to say, because we are witnessing what is happening, what is the situation of the availability of beds, oxygen, etc., etc. Needless to discuss that. And social sector, our society has got, I mean, all types of problems, not only problem of poverty, but the problem of so many multiple types. Poverty is not the only problem. So we have a problem of, for example, children's problem, we have women's problem, we have, illiteracy problem, we have disability problem, we have issues and issues. All those are dealt by this sector through the social activities of this sector. Now, in the sector, if you look at three dimension, a three-wheeler, the first wheel is their purpose. Why should they exist at all? We know why they are existing. Second wheel is the governance. The governance is the people who are governing these organizations. And in addition to the office bearers, each one of us here have a role in these organizations because we are touching them through our own knowledge, our own expertise, like CSR, PSR. I often say PSR, professional social responsibility, which we are really fulfilling today by getting knowledge and helping them. And the last third wheel is the financial management. In that wheel, if you go to that wheel, am I still audible? Am I still audible?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Okay, okay. And the PowerPoint is also quite visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Thank you.
Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to spend time on all the other things. This is 10 commandments of financial management for an NPO in the course of my research over the last 40 years. But I just want to focus on one box here. That is the regulatory box. You can see there that appearing in red on the right side, the regulatory box. In the regulatory box, the governance has a role that not only the office bearers of the NGOs, but advisors of these NPOs, auditors of these NPOs, and people in the various bodies of these NPOs have a role to play, which we are doing today. And especially during the COVID times, this role is even more critical. And I want to say it's absolutely fitting. Today in the COVID period, we are not able to do everything physically. Fortunately, the topic we are going to deal, that is the 12-year renewal, we are able to do virtual, which we are going to quickly focus on them. Now, what is the emerging trend in the NPO compliance, particularly legal compliance? If you look at it, if you put an NPO in the middle, whether it be a legal form of society or trust or company or non-registered body or whatever, you will have on the one side the incorporation law, on the other side you have the income tax law, and on the upper there the FCRA compliance, and of course the GST and social security. We can go on and on and on. There are so many, but there is a need to look at these compliance in a holistic manner, and NPOs are going through the most challenging times in the history, not because of COVID. Well before COVID, they are already started a tough time. Their pressures are internal and external. Internal is within the organization, several pressures, vision to governance issues, disputes, a lot of pressures. External, the accountability demands from the stakeholders is also becoming high, particularly the government demands, requirements for accountability are increasing, and the regulatory framework is stringent day after day. COVID period has not spared them. In April 20, the Finance Act 2020 came, about which we are talking today. In September 20, the FCRA amendment came, severe amendment having a storm effect all over the country, and they are still not come out of those large issues that are before them. New rules and laws or regulations are enacted day after day, not year after year. And therefore, there is a need for sufficient awareness. Needless to say this to professionals like senior, seasoned, sound professionals like you all, needless to say. But there is a need to give this awareness, caution, and readiness to the non-profit bodies.
WhatsApp message அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கேன், கொஞ்சம் பாருங்களேன்.
Are you referring to me?
No, sir. Sorry.
Okay. I would like to say that among this whole lot of compliance, the income tax compliance is a lifeline for these NPOs. See, they have FCRA compliance, but hardly there are 20,000 NPOs registered under FCRA, not all. And there is DARPAN compliance, but not all require DARPAN compliance. It is not mandatory. There are GST compliance, but all need not.
Speaker, sir.
Yes.
Can I
yes.
just interrupt you for a
Yeah,
minute, sir?
please.
Dear members, since we have now touched 100, and I request a few of you to move on to YouTube to permit more of the members to come in. The numbers are piling, and maybe others are finding it difficult to come in. They may not know why they are not allowed inside. So, would request a few of you to shift to YouTube so it becomes easier, and if the numbers go, it will be better. President has rightly pointed out before I was seeing 98, now it is 100. So I would request few of you as much as possible to shift to YouTube so that the newer ones can join this group. Thank you. Sir, please continue.
Okay. Join Kumar. Kumar? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, C. Rajesh. I was coming to say, in the whole complexity of NPO compliance, it's a forest. It's a big forest. It's not a tree. It's not a branch. It's not a leaf. But just one leaf is this 10A form. One leaf is the 10A form. And there are so many compliances under the Income Tax Act itself. And there are other compliances under several other legislations. So today it is like a forest fire. We are hearing about forest fire in certain continents, Australia and America and all that. And today this is like a forest fire in the country. When 20,000 NPOs are to be renewed under FCRA, there was such a lot of hue and cry. Now today, nobody knows how many NPOs are to be re-registered under 12A. God alone knows. I'm saying this because government does not know. We do not know. They do not know themselves who registered also, because many are not there. You know, God alone knows how many 12As are going to be renewed, revalidated, or re-registered. This is the complexity that we are facing today. Now, in this complexity, there are three things. One is incorporation law, about which we are not concerned today. Other laws and rules and regulations. One such law is the income tax law for them. And in that one small issue, like I said, in the forest and the tree and the branch, one leaf is the 10A form, which we are going quickly. So you have Societies Act compliance, Trust Act compliance in the case of trust, Section 8 compliance in the case of Section 8 bodies. And in Maharashtra and Gujarat and Rajasthan, certain states, in addition to this, the Trust Act compliance. Unfortunately, in Tamil Nadu, the trust bill came, and fortunately, it's withdrawn. One good news. I think you had a last session on the trust bill of Tamil Nadu, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
And I think people like you have really helped, because I was also there, part of several discussions, several representations, more than 15, 20 representations, which were given to the government. Of course, certain things also, time matters, elections and all of this matters. So the bill is withdrawn now. However, these laws like IT Act is there, FCRA is there, GST is there, and the TNPT is withdrawn. Now, I'm not even touching upon this, leave alone these, PFs and the ESIs and Gratuity Act. All of these are applicable for the NPOs, and the TNP bill is withdrawn. So in the other law, FCRA currently, just 1 minute on this. All of them are required to open an account only in Delhi in one branch of one bank, that is State Bank of India, NDMB, New Delhi main branch. After opening that account, they are supposed to intimate in the portal in form number 6C for approval of the FCRA. After getting the approval of the FCRA in form number 6C, they have to intimate that to the NDMB New Delhi and get their acceptance to get the money through that bank account. And immediately after that, they have to apply for they have to file the FC4 annual return. And after that, only they are eligible to apply for FCRA renewal in form number 3C, which is 30th April is the last date. Next week is the last date. Not even income tax has such a short time duration. We have up to June for the filing. But FCRA filing is 30th of April is the last date. Earlier, it was within 6 months of expiry, one can renew, but now it is prior to 6 months of expiry, 6 months expiry. So, this is one. And the other, GST, less set is better, because so many are applicable. They are all applicable for them not paying it. But I also know there are hundreds and hundreds of non-profits are paying crores of GST. Educational bodies, for example, for all the unapproved courses, for all the other income, they are paying GST today. private educational institutions are paying huge GST today. Darpan. There is some disturbance. Is there some?
Rajkumar, can you please mute everybody else? There is still some disturbance. Rajkumar? Sir, now clear, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, C. Rajesh. So this is Darpan. I'm sure you know the meaning. It's mirror. The idea is to have a database of the NPOs, but that's not stopping there. The Darpan, which became mandatory for FCRA, became non-mandatory after 2 years in 2018-19, and again now it has become mandatory. If you want to apply for the Delhi bank account, you need it. If you want to file the FC4, the annual return, you need it. If you want to apply the FCRA renewal, you need it. Unless you put the Darpan number, the FCRA portal will not move. Now, what about in income tax 12A? Yeah, it is asked there. It is asked there. Though not, it has become mandatory. But it is asked there, if you are getting government grant, then this is mandatory. Of course, the government grant, when the government is allotting the grant, it is already expecting the Darpan number there before they remit the money. Now, among the other laws, I am now quickly focusing to the income tax law, particularly the Finance Act 2020, whereby we are asked to apply for the renewal of 12A and 12AA. I'm sure you all know well, there's no difference between 12A certificate and 12AA certificate. There was a huge discussion going on some time back. I mean, couple of years back when 12AA came, 12AA is not additional registration. It's only prescribed the procedure. Since 12A was not prescribed the detailed procedure. So both are same. Today, people are there with 12A certificate. People are there with 12AA certificate. People are there, NPOs are there with no 12A certificate, only a form 10A stamped. There are many NPOs in 1973, they only got a 10A application stamped saying your application accepted. So you have galaxy of, NPOs with varieties of 12A certificates and scenarios, realities before the department, before the portal, not to speak to anybody, but only to speak to the, right on the portal, to fill the portal is happening right now. Of course, faceless assessment scheme, among other things. I think if I take this route, this time will not be enough. You all know what we are going through, what assessments are happening, how the orders are framed. So I leave this apart, only touching in context. Of course, we all know this. A non-profit is eligible either for total exemption or for what I have been calling for last 30 years, conditional exemption. The total exemption, as we all know, originally was 1022 and 22 capital A, education and medical, prior to 90s. And post 90s, it became 1023C. I go to another slide to give the break of 1023C. We all know how many varieties are available in 1023C. And 1021, of course, specifically for research bodies, scientific research bodies. And of course, conditional, when I'm calling it conditional, that's because unless the certain conditions are fulfilled, such as the 12A or AA registration and audit of accounts and filing of returns and 11.5 investment, etc., there is no exemption. So that is the other category. So today we are before the department for these renewals, either 12A route or 1023C route. And the interesting point is, which is not so interesting, so far an NPO was eligible for any of these two options. When the dispute came, the Maharashtra, the Bar Council went to the Supreme Court and said, no, I am eligible for either of 1023C or for 11. And the Supreme Court said, yes, you take it. But today, Finance Act 2020 is amended to say, sorry, you take only one of this. Either you take 11 or you take 1023C. You are not eligible at the same time for both. Now, when you look at the 1023C, these are the various types. I put it a simple table for a long time. I'm using this table. In 1023C, 3AB, AC is for the substantially financed by the government. And there was a lot of dispute. Fortunately, the rule 2BBB came to say substantially means exceeding 50%. So that is settled. Then 3 AD and AE for gross receipts below 1 crore. Now it is 5 crore. 6 and 6A for gross receipts below 1 crore. Now it is below 5 crore. 1023C 4 is for charitable bodies having all India importance. 5 is for religious and charitable. Not only religious and charitable. That is what we are. That is what is our society today. We are religious and charitable because every religion is expecting people to do charity. So 4 and 5 and then 1021. Now this slide is so important when we go to the filling of the form 10A. The form 10A expects us where are we coming from. So we will go to that form in a minute from now. Conditional exemption, again, as we know, once we take this route for 11 exemption, then 12A is a condition. And of course, there is a liberty for modification for us. And there is a mandatory requirement of audit and filing returns. As you know, filing return was not mandatory for several bodies in the past. Today, nobody is exempted. All have to file the return of income. And then, of course, application, accumulation. If I take this route, application, accumulation, 1 year, 5 year, issues there, investments, violations, and 40A3 for cash transaction exceeding 10,000 and non-TDS 40A1A, all this will take us another route, completely another route. Violations and implications is a completely another scenario. We are not going there, just in context. Now we go to the focus area. What is our focus area? It is the renewal of 12A or 12AA to 12AB regime. Last nearly 48 years, 1973 to 2021, we have been always calling 12A, 12A. You know, in the NPO sector, 12A means it is 12A. We are moving from there to the AB regime from now onwards, 1st April 2021 onwards. And same thing, 1023C and 80G. Now, repeal of 12AA and new 12AB. It is not a full repeal. 12A is still valid. There are certain provisions there which are still valid. And fresh renewal is required through 12AB and 1023C. And approval for 1023C and 80G. And modification is still allowed. Under the current regime also, modification is allowed. Absolutely no problem. So we are going to the re-registration. And these are all already in the history. You all know it. The law was amended in Finance Act 2020. And the first timeline was 30th June 20. You are all aware. Next timeline was October 2020. You are all aware. Then came the next deadline, 31st March ending 21, 1st April 2021. So now we are now with the current circular and notification and the amendment rules are there. So we are going to the Form 10 and 10AB. Already a question is placed by our moderator that why Form 10A and 10B. No? So I will go to that a little later. But right now I will focus on the applicability of Form 10A. And why is this Form 10A? The Form 10A is by the Finance Act 2020 and the CBDT Amendment Rule 2021 and 1st April 21. New rules require forms to be filled for revalidation through the electronic mode in the portal. These are the applicability of this Form 10A. This is exactly from the portal. This is the applicability. This is applicable for all these categories. That is subclass 1 of 12A 1AC and subclass 6 of 12A 1AC. What are these? Subclass 1 of 12 subsection 1 AC is the existing registrations going for re-registration. Subclass 6 is nothing but the provisional registrations. Those who want to go for provisional registration. That is the first time going for registration. And similarly, in 23C, there is 1 and 4, and 80G also there is 1 and 4. Same pattern. Existing and newly going for registration, which we call now provisional registration. And same thing, 35. 35 is very limited, as you know, for those who are having the research approval as a research body. Now, general instructions, some of this, I mean, they are available in the portal. I need not take your time, but some are important. For example, first one, do not click back button and browse and backspace because you get logged out. Yeah, it has happened to us several times. By the way, by now we have applied several cases already, and some have already come. Some approvals have already come. So we have experienced that first point already. The second point already I covered, saying this is the applicability of Form 10A. And of course, the e-verification, I go to it little later. 3 options are given there. You can choose any of the options. And saving the portal then and there is very useful. Otherwise, you completely lose, as it has happened to us several times. Now, attachments, I come to the attachment little later. I come to the right place and I will speak about the attachment and then the verification and the DSC and EVC. Now, look at perhaps for 1 minute, just for 1 minute, the form itself. Excuse me for 1 second. I come back to you. Just take the form. See if the form is sharing, Form 10A.
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
Yeah. I'm sure some of you or most of you would have gone through this form. Fairly simple to read it. Nothing great. But instead of using this form, I will use the PowerPoint to show the significant areas of this form where the form is simple, no issue, but where there are some issues. Therefore, you please help me to go through the form itself. Is it visible again, please? Is it
Yes, sir.
visible again?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
visible.
Okay. I'm sharing one which has been submitted. Like this, we have submitted several of them already. We did face certain difficulties. I'm also sharing those difficulties. If they may be of help to you, perhaps you can avoid them already if you are facing those kind of difficulties. And I'm also happy to say that quite a few approvals have come through. 1 or 2 right in the beginning came the next morning. Late evening when it was uploaded, next day the registration came for the financial year 21-22 and for assessment year 22-23. It is already coming through, which is interesting. Now, when you go to the form, the PDF form that I showed you, at one place, it will ask you select. So you can see various things here, so many things here. And one pattern I would like you to notice here, the pattern, see the pattern. First is 12A1AC1, 12A1AC6, nothing but 12A1AC1 is the existing registrations. And 12A1AC6 is the one we go afresh, provisional, which they are calling now provisional registration. So these are the 2 only we will be using for 12A route for the next at least 5 years. We will be using only that, because once it is given in the 12A1 AC subclass 1, that's eligible for the next 5 years. It is valid. Then only after 5 years, we will go for the additional registration of the next 5 years. And when it is 6, we will be using for the provisional option, which is for 3 years. And only after that, we will be going for the subsequent renewal. So right now we will be using only one, and most of it, hundreds and thousands, I do not know, lakhs of it, will be using the first one. Now going to the ATG, again, same pattern. Can you notice the pattern? Subclass class 1, class 4, same like here. Here it is 1 and 6, there it is 1 and 4. That's the difference, but otherwise it is the same. Existing ATGs and new ATGs that we would like to apply. Same thing with the scientific. 35(1), of course, you are aware that there are two kinds of research exemptions, scientific and social or statistical. Scientific is 175%, social or statistical is only 125%. That former AC is gone, 35 AC, which was 100% is removed, no more in the statute. Now, in this 35(1)(2) and 35(3), there are again 3 types. One is the research association, and the other is the colleges and universities, and the other is the company. So that's why the pattern. First one is scientific research association. Second is scientific research, but college or university or other institution, hospitals. Another is the third one is the research association. It is not a university, it is a research association for class 3, that is for statistical research. And again, next is class 3, statistical research exemption for university or college. And then the 2A is company. Company themselves can do research and claim research exemption, as we all know. And then the last is the, again, for 3, statistical research association or the university. So though list is long, it's very clear. 99% will come under number 1, first one. Of course, those who go new, as always, will come under. Now I'm talking about serial number 2, serial number 1, number 2 there. Or here it is 11 and 12. And 12 to 19, it depends who we are. Are we a university or a college, or are we a research association, scientific research association, or are we going under scientific research or statistical or social research? Depends on that. Now we come to another important area, nature of activities, charitable, religious, and religious come charitable. This is something we have to be careful. We know the history. Long time, we were allowed to be religious come charitable. But you are aware in the last 10 to 15 years, there was such a lot of discussion that you cannot be both. Either you have to be charitable or you have to be religious. To the extent, I'm sure you would have seen the audits in the last 10, 15 years. It will be a PCT, Public Charitable Trust, or a Public Religious Trust, PRT. You would have seen the orders of the commissioners, including in the Tamil Nadu exemption, Commissioner of the Exemption, Tamil Nadu, Pondicherry, or Karnataka, or Kerala, or Hyderabad, Orissa, etc. You would have seen. But the history is that it is possible to be either simply charitable or purely religious, or also religious come charitable. It took long struggle until the Dawoodi Bohra, the famous case which went from Maharashtra to Supreme Court, said that a religious can also be charitable. And thereafter, you can see around the country, across the country, commissioners started issuing certificate in the last 3 years. In Chennai, Chennai, it is last 3.5 years that you can be both religious and charitable. So today, when you are applying for the 12-year revalidation or renewal or re-registration, you will have to see what you have been. If you have been only charitable, for example, you have been charitable, you also have ATG, there's no doubt, you just put the charitable. And if you are purely religious, nothing about charitable, then how will you find out? First, you will see the assessment order, because 12 years never spoke about it in 73 or 80 or 90 or even in 2000 up until 2014-15. Only after 2014-15, they started putting that word, you are a religious, you are a charitable, and you are a PCT, you are a PRT. After that, before that, nothing. So you will have to take the clue from the object class of the entity, whether it's a memorandum of association of the society or company, or the object class of the trust, and then say whether you are purely religious. Now, assessment orders will be another area to see what they have been declaring. But many assessment orders are not speaking about it. You will only see computation. You will not see much about what is the nature of this entity. Now, last one, religious and charitable, that is a very important one. You will have to really choose carefully, particularly if you are already having 80G, then you have to choose even more carefully, because you know that if the religious expenditure exceeds 5%, then 80G will become invalid. So that is an area that needs a lot of attention. Any queries on that, I welcome. Next one is the type of constitution. In this country today, as we just saw one slide some time back, there are only three entities, three legal forms. That's the society, traditional. India had the first Societies Act right after the British Societies Act. 1860 was India Societies Act. And after that, the Tamil Nadu government brought the 1975 Act and 1978 rules. Across the country, all states have their own rules accepting a Societies Act, accepting the union territories. Now, if you are a society, fine. If you are a trust, multiple issues. Are you a trust? Are you a public charitable trust? Are you a public religious trust? And what is your registration? Are you registered? Are you notarized? Are you registered with the sub-registrar? Are you registered with any other entity like Maharashtra Public Trust Act or any other Public Trust Act? Multiple scenarios, multiple options. And there are oral trusts with absolutely no deed. And there are trusts only signed. And there are trusts in the will. And there are trusts courts have declared. You know, varieties and varieties. I'm not able to list all of them here. Of course, go to company, that's very clear. Section 25 company for a long time. Now it is Section 8 company. So selection there, I think for some of us, it will be simple, but not for all. Or some entities, it is direct. For some other entities, it may be not easy. And then the applicant is established under an instrument. Yes, if you have an instrument, you will have to say yes. And if you don't have an instrument, what to do is a question. And of course, selection of the date, it is from the calendar, nothing great. Registration number, this is an issue. Society, no problem. Company, no problem. In the case of a trust, what are we going to do? You know, is a question. And objects, again, we'll have to be careful. Everything is clubbed here. You know, normally when we talk of, this kind of things, education relief, etc., we immediately think of Section 215. But Section 215 doesn't cover religious. Tell me, is there a definition of religious in the Act? Income Tax Act? For that matter, many of us are also legal people. Is there any act in the country which defines religion? No act in the country defines religion. Courts have defined. Courts have shared their thoughts, their expression of religion, but there is no definition. So we'll have to be extremely careful here when we want to tick. Which one do we want to tick? We'll have to keep in mind the objects that we spoke about earlier. We have to keep in mind the 12A that we have already. We have to keep in mind any other registration. For example, there are so many bodies who are charitable under the income tax, but under the FCRA, it is religious is ticked. Under the FCRA, it is ticked social, and income tax, it is educational. Multiple anomalies are going on there. Nowadays, the government department takes only 1 minute like you and me to click and find out from another side what is the nature of this entity. They don't go only by what we say here. They also see what is there in other portals, which you are aware. You go to FCRA portal, in 1 minute, we can take every entity's whole profile there, including their annual report in form number FC4. And you know that 26 AS now gives the GST data there. Every data is available everywhere else. Sometimes only those who want, we are not getting it. When we want now for audit, for example, we are not easily getting it, but it's already available in various portals. They have captured it. Cash transactions to special transactions to all high value transactions. They have captured everything, And whether trust deed contains a clause irrevocable. Yeah, this is an issue. This is an issue. Since the moderator has already placed the question, I would like to say most of the trust we will see, 99 if I can say, because I've been seeing thousands of them over the years. Somewhere you will see, in some case, it will start with this is an irrevocable trust in the preamble, but you won't find anywhere in the declaration that it is irrevocable, So you have varieties and varieties. Now, what happens if you don't find at all? If you don't find at all in a society, it's not a problem because society is not to be coming under this category. Society cannot be dissolved other than through the provisions of the Societies Act. Same thing with a company, there's no issue. It's only for a trust. If there is no irrevocable clause, I simply suggest, already the question itself gave me the answer. In fact, when Chairman Ravi Shankar sent me that one of the queries, that query itself had the answer, whether we should make a document with irrevocable clause and upload it. Yes, I would like to say that. Because if you are interacting with an official in the race course in Coimbatore, it's a different matter. We are not, we are in the course of interacting with nobody, So you are most likely to get a rejection order if something like that is missing, I have not got so far, but I have put everything, whatever I have uploaded, they are all revocable clause is there. Therefore, in one case of ours, revocable clause was not there in the beginning, but subsequently when the 12A was processed, 80G was processed, the amendment was made and given. So we added that, along with the original deed, added that, made in the single PDF file, attached it, it has come through because they are seeing that, So my simple advice is better to err on the safer side than on the dangerous side and be vulnerable. That is my simple advice you may consider. And of course, FCRA, Darpan, etc., if it is available, and then the drop downs, there are so many drop downs. Here you can see one such, they are asking for the various registrations. See, if you are applying for 12A renewal, minimum 12A is mandatory. If 12A is not attached here, there cannot be a renewal. Other ones, it is not mandatory. If it's available, we put it. You know what are the other ones. Many have FCRA, not all, and some have Darpan. And so whatever is available like that, 80G, for example, put it here so that it is holistic for them. But don't miss putting what is really the most important one, that is the 12A order. But the same thing, if you select the subclass 6 there for a provisional registration, will you have 12A to attach? No, because you are asking for the first time. It's also not asking. Portal is quite, comparing with our past experience of portals and portals, not too bad, not too bad. When you go for that option, it is not asking for irrelevant things, fortunately. Otherwise, unfortunately, people are attaching. For example, if it is not out of the place to say, before this form came, new form, several applications were filed for revalidation in the old 10A portal. I'm sure you are aware of that, So I used to hear, instead of FCRA application going to FCRA Home Ministry in Delhi, it used to go to Reserve Bank in Mumbai to the Finance Ministry, because the NPOs sometimes without our guidance, they just forward and go to the portal. Sometimes, we are also not clear. We are also not getting proper clarity. So in Tamil Nadu itself, quite a few applications were filed in the old 10A for revalidation, and they faced the risk of cancellation because already existing registration, they were again applying instead of waiting for this form. So I'm bringing this in context to say it's important to use the right form and the right document for the uploading.
Sir,
and then, of course,
minute, I'll just pause you again. I think we have again reached 99. I request a few of the members to switch to YouTube. We had quite a sizable numbers shifting. I would request another 5 or 6 to start with to shift to YouTube, sir. Thank you. Sir, please continue.
Thank you. Thank you. So then whether application has been rejected, naturally, we will not be saying yes here because if it was rejected, there is no question of renewal of the rejected order. We would have gone and appealed to the ITAT because the commissioner is the authority passing the order. We go to the next judicial authority. We cannot go to the CIT appeals. Whether claiming exemption under 21, that is for those who are the scientific bodies. And then we come to the details of the authors, founders, and the various information here, So here they have put here certain categories, as you can see, managing director, authorized signatory, etc. There are two comments I'm making in the brighter side. One is, first of all, the NPOs, the way they give designations, God alone knows how they are giving. So many designations, in the society, instead of saying, for example, the president, secretary, they will put trustee. In the trust, they call it association. Trust itself, when they register, calling association. And in the trust, instead of putting trustee, you will find other designations. So, this is not to find fault with them. That is to say India. That is India. That is the non-profit sector in India. That is one side. On the other side, select, we have to select now. We have given the privilege of selecting now. I've tried my best. Not a single entity. I must not be totally unfair. Excepting very few entities, not most of the entities, I could not fit the right designation. So we have to choose the nearest one, a nearest. For example, in certain cases, there is one president. After that, there is one chairman, and there is one chief trustee. Chief functionary கூட பரவாயில்ல, ஏன்னா இன்கம் டாக்ஸ்ல இதுல FCRA அந்த term யூஸ் பண்றாங்க. Chief trustee, அப்புறம் managing trustee, yeah, because they have given that, because that person is eminent person and he is a patron and he has been so guiding and supportive, fine. But here, I don't think we can expect any government to bring all the things here. So my experience so far is to select the most appropriate. Many are fitting, no doubt, but quite a few may not be fitting. So you'll have to be a little careful. And after that, the other things, I don't want to waste your time because they are all simple information, which we can easily fill in. And then comes, here is a thing we need to be careful. We need to be careful. Can somebody read this for me? Because I am hiding, this Zoom is hiding me.
I'll read it, sir.
Yeah.
In case of persons mentioned in row 9A is not an individual, then provide the following details of the natural persons who are the beneficial owners, 5% or more of such person as on the date of application.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Very simple. There are trust or bodies, particularly Section 8 companies, former Section 25 companies, whose trusteeship is not only individuals, some other non-individuals. Like there are companies who are trustees in the certain trust. I myself have. So in those cases, the department would like to know special detail. For example, unique identification number and, for example, the ID code. What are they? If you really go there, if it's India, we can give PAN and Aadhaar and all. But if it's a foreign company or a foreign entity, then you won't have that those things, Aadhaar and PAN. But TIN is there, as you know. Like in North American countries, US and Canada, tax identification number. You may be using that even for filing returns for the non-citizens. For the foreign citizens, we have to use that identification number. So those have to be given. I do come across one or two cases in my own case like this. And then other things are normal. Only the unique identifier and the ID code in the case of the non-individual, we need to be little careful. And then this is important. Number 10 is a yes or no question. 11 to 19 is very important. Financial information. I'm not going to read it because it's very simple line item. But what is the importance of this? Already, moderator placed a question about the filing return and not filing return. If filing return, I don't have to go there and say yes. It comes automatically yes. I already got like that for several. Until the return is up to date filed and nothing pending, and it comes automatically yes, and other becomes non-filing, non-filler. You can see it's a non-filler. Not filed, it comes. Then we have to start filling the data. They would like to know up to date what is the situation. like they ask when we go manually, when we used to apply, they used to ask us for the financial statement and audit report, etc. Something like that is happening here. I'm going to share another slide where this will be even more clear. Now here is an important thing. 3 years of income, particularly an expenditure of religious activity, religious nature. See, the first 3 years of income, government grant, CSR grant, you are going to speak about it soon, other specific grants, non-government grant from NGOs, and then other income. They are expected there, just total. But this one, more important is 21A and B. It has got an implication, as you know, expenditure, religious nature, you know. Why? Because 80G 2B says that if the religious expenditure exceeds 5% of the total income, then 80G will not be available. That's why that is asked here. Now, simple. Row number 11 to 20, no, you saw earlier, this one, 11 to 20. This is required to be filled if for this 2 or 7, 8, 9, 10, that is the original code we saw there in the serial number. If the answer to this is the no, return not filed, then these things have to be filled up because they expect the data. But if the applicant code is this and said, and naturally, if it is no, then they expect us to do the filling. Now again, see the pattern here. Earlier I spoke of the pattern. See the pattern here. Subclass 1 is the renewal. 12A, subsection 1, class AC, and subclass 1 is the renewal. Same thing when you come to 1023C, 4, 5, 6, 6A. You are aware. 4 is the charitable. 5 is the religious and charitable. Both are having national importance. 6 is the education. 6A is the medical, below 5 crore. Now, I'm sorry, above 5 crore. Those two are above 5 crore requiring the approval. By the way, when I talk about this, you see the original slide where I gave all the total exemptions, 3AC, 3AD, etc. Those are not at all under the approval category. Those are automatic category. The approval categories are only these, that is the 1023C 4, 5, and then the 6, 6A. These are only in the approval. Even before the this amendment, that was the framework. And 80G again, 1 and 4. 1 is for the renewal, 4 is for the fresh one, provisional, what we call the provisional. Okay. Now, this is for the religious activity. Data to be filled. Now, verification part. We have not faced much issues here, excepting we have to be clear, no, who is really the person who is verifying, and who is the person who through whom we go for either the OTP or for DSC. You know, we need to be clear here on that. And we did not face much problem. We save the draft and then we preview and then we go to the attachment. In the attachment, we experienced nowhere it is mentioned, but when it is more than 50 MB, particularly when large bodies gave financial statements in PDF, when it became 100 MB, 120 MB, we could not upload it, and then we made it shorter. And when it became below 50 MB, we are able to do it. And all attachments are in PDF only. Why say PDF? Because if you go to some other portal like FCRA, different formats are expected. You know, JPEG format is expected for the seal and signature, and then the auditor statements is the PDF, etc. Here it is just the PDF. And of course, if it is in the vernacular language, you are expected to translate it. So these are the attachments. 1 minute is needed here because I would like to really focus where the problems are. Number 1, self-certified copy of the instrument creating the trust or establishing the institution, not an issue. When we have a society or a trust or a company, we give the self-certified instrument of the either the trust deed or the memorandum bylaws or the memorandum and articles of the company, no issue. self-certified copy of the document evidencing the creation of the trust or establishment of the institution. In the case of a society, best such document is a registration certificate. In the case of a company, the incorporation certificate. In the case of a trust, what can it be? The trust can be oral, trust can be just written, signed, not notarized, not registered. The trust can be notarized, and the trust can be registered, and the trust can be court degree, and the trust can be nothing, because there are trusts, to my knowledge, from AD 52, not 1952, AD 52. Yes, they are in the files of the department. No law was there. Which law was there in AD 52? The earliest law I am thinking is 1860 Societies Act. Even the Trust Act was 1882. The Indian Trust Act, which does not apply to a public trust. It applies only to a private trust. So what is it? How to go about it? If you have practical issues, and I am willing to share my experience, how we have been going about it. Then the copy of the registrar's company, again, it is a repetition according to me. Centerல வைக்கிறதுக்கு பதிலா நடு சென்டர்ல வைக்க போறோம். See, there it is a document evidencing the creation. Mere memorandum will not be an evidence for creation. There are so many such memorandums which are never registered. But certificate is a evidence. Here it is specifically asked for the certificate. Of course, I see a difference between the third and the second. Second, sometimes may not be just a certificate. It can be, as I said, a court degree, where it is clear there is a creation of the trust. So that will become the document there. Here, specifically, they are talking about the certificate. And then the next is FCRA, if it is available, if it is applicable. Next is the 12A, definitely. If you are applying for 12A, definitely 12A has to be added there. And if it is self-certified annual accounts of the trust or institution relating to the year not being 3 years, etc. Here it is the annual accounts of the 3 years. One question has come here from several people that the activity report is required. Nature of activities, it is there already in the rules also, but there is no attachment. It's true, there is no attachment. So after several discussions within my team and with also certain colleagues and all that, I have started adding the activity report along with the accounts. After all, I got this idea from many annual reports. See, if you go to many annual reports of NPOs, particularly schools and colleges and some established, reputed NPOs, you will see an annual report. It's a PDF version. They have electronic version. There you will see both the activity, program, and the accounts, audited accounts. So we attached it, and it has been, in fact, 1 or 2 is granted with that kind of a certificate, that kind of a document. And of course, after this, this is a very simple, for us, it is a LKG matter because we have been using these options, OTPs and DSCs, for various filings over the last couple of years since we went into the electronic filing and digital filing and now the virtual. And this is a proof to show that so many have been submitted already. Quite a few have been submitted. Practical issues, what I have gathered, I'll put it in 2-3 minutes, but that is not to impose upon you what I have experienced, but more to listen to you to see what you may be already feeling or experiencing or you are apprehending. We can discuss that more. Mine will be very quick. Number 1, renewal of 12A, AA or 1023C. We need to be careful not to use the wrong class, not to go to provisional, for example. You can easily upload the provisional, by mistake. So 1023C, similarly, if you are already having this earlier ones, the ones that does not require approval, no need to go for approval at all. Nature of activities, I have already shared some concerns or I have shared some cautions how we have to be careful. Possibly one I did not share. That is, if you recollect the 3 options, what are they? Charitable, religious come charitable. Now, if it is pure charitable, no issue. Purely religious, no issue. Religious come charitable also, no issue. But If it is religious in the department, no need to go for approval at all. Of activities some recording is echoing, or am I okay? Shall I continue? Select the three options. What are they? Hello? I think some recorded version is coming. Can I continue, CA Rajesh?
Yes, sir, you can continue. I think
Okay.
there is a.
Okay. So I was coming to say another special category. I hope you are with me on this. I have come across 2-3 cases in the last few days, purely religious trust, but department also has issued as a public religious trust, PRT. But when you go to the object clause, there are charitable objects. What would you do? You know, if you are not having that, I do not want to confuse you. But if you are having, I would like to suggest, look at the Dawoodi Bohra Supreme Court, which is a religious trust, which had certain activities in the nature of charitable. For example, poor feeding in the temple, in the mosque, in the church. So poor feeding, purely not religious, but integral part of the religious, charitable activity, integral part of the religious. I would say in that case, it's my opinion that together with the religious, you can tick whichever relief of the poor, for example. You know, it's up to you. I'm just, I came across this as a specific issue. Therefore, I'm sharing with you. Type of constitution, I already cautioned it. We have to be very cautious. If it is one of the usual legal form, no issue. If not, we have to be cautious. Objects, already. This caution I gave you about objects just now. Darpan, I said, it's mandatory in FCRA now. For government grant, if the NPO is getting, it is mandatory. For income tax, as of now, it is not mandatory. And then there is one issue that we come across. See, if you apply, when you would have experienced several times, when you have applied for a 12A order in 10A, in the earlier 10A form, you would have got the order somewhere in September or in even March. But the approval is valid from the first day of the financial year. Am I right? 1st April. But when you want to fill the portal, it's asking date of the order from when it is effective. So date of the order, suppose if you put on 28th of March 2021 and effect from 1st April 20, it doesn't accept. Portal doesn't go through. So this is currently there is a little anomaly, and I would like you to point out to the authorities. I have been pointing it out. Over the last couple of years, more than 2 decades, we have been continuously pointing out to the authorities. And I'm happy to say every year there is some improvement. If you take Form ITR 7, think of the first Form ITR 7 in 2003 to the form in 2021, astronomical changes for the better side. For example, until last year, you won't even have which objective the expenditure is. Now we have religious, charitable, and if it is charitable, relief of the poor. Of course, this necessitates the accounts to be in that order. What are the expenditure for the various activities, so that we can fit it into the ITR 7. Another one, additional registration, how many to give, what to give, and what not to give. My simple answer is, what is a must, don't miss it. What is not a must, give it. I don't see any reason why we should not give it if it is available. Darpan, I have already shared with you the story of the Darpan, where it is required, where it is not required. Trust notarized but not registered, what information to give. My opinion here is, under law, it is enough a trust is signed, not even necessary to notarize. To my personal knowledge, we have thousands of trusts only notarized and thousands of trusts only signed. There are very few who were re-registered with the sub-registrar. I have personal knowledge and experience. But when we re-registered, it was not at all easy, because sub-registrar wanted crores of stamp duty on while re-registering, because by then the trust has accumulated crores worth of lands and buildings and equipments and properties, running institutions and institutions. but we were able to register with no additional stamp duty, zero stamp duty. So in those cases, we are able to give the number today. But what about others? So we'll have to think of giving some document as a, over there to show that it is a validly registered existing document. Otherwise, we can run into problem. Original deed with subsequent deed, I already shared with you. We have coming across, and I have attached the amendment deeds also, particularly because the registration was missing and the irrevocable clause was missing. Therefore, we have added that. It has gone through. Irrevocability, I already shared with you. 12A or rejection. And if it is earlier rejected, we used to go to ITAT. I think the same thing. There is no other way here also. It is given right now. There is no other way. I think there is such a lot, but I have to be very concerned about the time, and also respected another speaker that you have a important other topic. And therefore, I would like to please request you to please allow me to stop my presentation. And of course, I am before you to exchange additional information, additional experience, whatever queries that we can exchange and enrich our knowledge. Thank you so much, moderator. Thank you so much, chairman and senior members. I'm very sure that this information is so little, but the ocean consists of drops, and the ocean of non-profit is having such a lot happening. And in the ocean of non-profit, the compliance is another ocean, and in that ocean, what I have shared with you is one drop, but this is lifeline drop, if I can say it. Yeah, somebody can afford without FCRA. Somebody can afford without DARPAN. Somebody can afford without perhaps CSR. I'm not saying it is not useful. They are all useful. But if they don't have 12A, they are in trouble, because the tax rate, and that to MMR, and that to 115 TD. All this not even worth discussing, because they are frightening. The tax rates and the taxes there for violations, and the penalties and the interest. And the NPOs need not ask a question, exit or exist. They don't even have to ask a question. You know why. But with a good note that, professionals, such senior and seasoned and sound professionals like you all will definitely support the NPOs, whatever they be their status, so that they will be able to continue their services in this great country, especially for the lots and lots of millions of people who deserve the support of these charities and religious and charitable bodies. I thank you for giving this opportunity. Over to you, moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kandaswamy. Sir, you have enlightened a lot of us. Whatever doubts we have had, I think I'm definitely sure it's going to be thrown up. You would definitely, having such a wide knowledge in FC, you would definitely appreciate even opening the State Bank account through that Delhi is getting so difficult that trust FCRA trusts are finding it extremely difficult to progress, even get the money from first aid.
Absolutely.
Right, sir. I will just process some questions which have come, and I will just lead you through, sir.
Sure.
In that, there is one before I could take that, which I had previously jotted down, was regarding what if the trust did not have a 12A registration letter. They have a number.
Okay.
But because it is more than 25 or 30 years old, nobody has a 12A registration. What do we do?
Shall I take one by one as you are asking? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know right from Coimbatore, there are some senior professionals who are deeply involved in the NPOs. And right from Coimbatore, I got reference, and I got, requests earlier, and many other parts of Tamil Nadu and South India. We had so many cases. 12A genuinely was there in 1973, starting time, 80s, 90s. And those days it was issued by the commissioner in Coimbatore. I myself had so many in Coimbatore, and Madurai, Trichy, and Chennai. And Chennai, it was not directorate or commissionerate. It was Tamil Nadu 3, if you all recollect, who issued so many 12As. No order. So very quickly, how I came up with some good options, and it happened to be very fruitful. One is we saw somewhere in the department's record or in our own record, a reference about the 12A. For example, I came across when we applied for 1023C in one case, the department has given a reference. This body has been assessed under 11 with the 12A so and so. Now they have come up for 1023C. We
Okay.
use that, to get a fresh order from the back date. Commissioners have been extraordinarily helpful. I mean, not all, but many. Number one. Number two, we came across in another case, more than 10 years, 15 years back, assessment order as mentioned, this society has been allotted 12A in volume so and so, like that. I came across like that, some authentic mention. We use the document to get the 12A, and there are so many today who have their fresh order with that kind of a background. But that has been possible because humanly we have been interacting with the other humans. Now we are interacting with the machine. So I feel it is challenging. I would, in my humble opinion, I feel we need to make out a case how this is a genuine body with having been allotted 12A and enjoying the exemptions. I think that is what I feel is necessary.
Okay. Right, sir. Right, sir. I'll just go on to the questions, sir.
Sure.
I'll go one by one.
Yeah.
So this is from CA Priya Bansali.
Okay.
He says she has received an SMS and email granting provisional registration and even for re-registration.
Yes.
But no order has been received for 80G and 12A.
Yeah. She is absolutely right. Ma'am, you are absolutely right. You have observed exactly what is happening. That has happened to me. That has happened to quite a few other colleagues. These days, you are aware, as CA Rajesh, moderator, pointed out, டெல்லியில வந்து அக்கவுண்ட் ஓபன் பண்ணி நம்பர் வந்துருது டெல்லியில இருந்து லெட்டர் வர மாட்டேங்குது. We have hundreds like that. Number is been allotted, it has come in the SMS, letter is not coming. They are saying it's on the way, So there is a pattern nowadays that, they allot and then they give. I think it is rather automatic when everything is in order. Order is not coming immediately. So far, to my personal knowledge, nobody has received the full order. But I am hearing, because as you know, even the commissioner is not directly dealing. It is the CPC there. So I am hearing the orders will come soon. It is like the vaccination, sir. First vaccination போனா வெறும் SMS தானே வருது. அடுத்த வேக்சினேஷனுக்கு நான் போகாதையே என் பேருக்கு சர்டிபிகேட் அனுப்புறேங்கறாங்க. So this is a pattern today. I hope the order will soon follow. This is my impression. I cannot say anything more because I have also not received any order excepting what ma'am is saying, Ms. CA Priya Bansali is saying.
I'll move on to the next one, sir. This is from Skandaraja. Sir, a doubt. If a trust has a 12A registration, and such trust is an educational institution within bracket school. Now we apply under subclause 1 of clause AC of 12A1. If its gross receipts are below 5 crore, can we claim exemption under 1023C 3AD now?
Very, very, very important and very interesting question. As we all know, until the Finance Act 2020, we were at liberty to move back and forth of the approval category. Now what is asked is not in the approval category, it is on the non-approval category. Below 5 crore now, the 1 crore is now below 5 crore, or it can be also the 50% exceeding government grant category. There is no clarity that we cannot go to that category. The clarity is here after the Finance Act amendment only for the approval category. As I said, 1023C 4, 5, 6 and 6A, we cannot jump back and forth. But for the other one, in my humble opinion, I do not see any problem because we are not going to the approval category. It is an automatic category.
I hope Skandaraja has been clarified. I now move on to the next question. Sir, is it mandatory to furnish financial statements for 2021? I think
Yeah.
that is not necessary.
You
Anyways.
mean for financial year 2021? Are you
Yes, sir.
referring?
Yes,
No,
sir.
it
That's
is.
what he is given. I think
There is no, see, the
necessary.
portal is not asking anything like that. It's only asking for 3 years. And then 1st April onwards, we are expected to file this portal, upload the portal. I think naturally they are not expecting. But more than that, where all we have got the provisional registration with the number like ma'am CA Priya Bansali was saying, it is only, I don't think, I mean, we can clarify from her. I don't think we have given 21 March. I have not given 21 March, but it has been already allotted. So it looks like they are not expecting us to give 21 March, 2021 financial year.
Thank you, sir. Next question is from Tangatu. Sir, what is your suggestion if the company is a registered trust for CSR usage, whether the fund is used for registered trust? Sorry, I'm not able to get the full question and I think it's a bit not clear also to me.
Yeah,
I'll repeat it. What
Okay.
is your suggestion if the company registered trust for CSR usage or whether the fund used for other registered trust?
The first part is clear,
Yes, sir.
CA
But I
Rajesh.
am not able to
Ah.
make out what. I will just jump or I will request that
Yeah.
gentleman to again repeat his question. So
Please,
we can
yeah,
catch.
sure. Sure.
Or if he is available, please unmute yourself and you can pose your question.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead. We don't want to miss your question. Please go ahead.
சார் கொஞ்சம் கார்பலா இருக்கு சார் கொஞ்சம் மைக்க கரெக்டா வச்சு பேசுங்க சார் 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 உங்க வாய்ஸ் கிளியரா இல்லனா டைப் பண்ணிடுங்க சார் அடுத்த क्वेश्चन எடுத்துக்கறோம் I will move on to the next question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, this is from Arunachalam.
Okay.
Sir, can a trust having educational institutions in 2 districts be bifurcated geographically into 2 trusts and the administration of the same be carried out by 2 trustees who are brothers? I think not relevant to our subject today, sir. Can I skip that?
Yeah. Up to you, sir. Up to you, CA Rajesh.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, Arsha Avinash Foundation trust deed copy has signatures already. What is the meaning of self-certification of documents?
Okay. Of course, this is fairly simple. As you know, previously we were all asked to be, certified by some other authority, gazetted officer and all that, but we are now allowed for self-certification. See, the signature, there are 2 types. One is the originally signing the document. The self-certification is a copy of that document. We say true copy of the original document. That is the difference that we are following. In all our cases, whether it's a memorandum bylaw or is it a trust deed or a 12A certificate, it's all there. We certify that as a true copy and that is the self-certification. I hope it is clear. The answer is clear.
Yes, sir. Very clear. Everything has to be certified as true copy and uploaded.
Absolutely. And to go further, when the memorandum has different pages and also financial statement has got multiple pages with the schedules, in addition to balance sheet, for example, there are a lot of schedules. I recommend that each page be self-certified. For the simple reason, today you can get a rejection order just in 1 minute for lack of one certificate, one signature. And that's going to take us a long time before we get it rectified. And in the faceless assessment, where to go for what is still not clear.
Perfectly valid point, sir. I think everybody will take care to ensure that every page is certified before scan. Yes, sir. I'll move on to the next question, sir. This is from Nagaraj.
Okay.
Is it mandatory to translate a Tamil trust deed into English? In Form 10A in enclosures, it is permitted to upload trust deed in vernacular language. Kindly enlighten, sir. Speaker, sir, kindly share your mail ID or phone number that the office of Kasi will definitely communicate, sir. This is regarding vernacular.
Yeah. See, under the rule or the law, there is nothing there. But I showed you the portal where it is given there. No, if it is in a vernacular language, then it should be in Hindi or English. You saw there in the portal. So therefore, I have not, so far had that issue. But in the past, I have had the issue. In the physical filing, I have had that issue many times, and we were translating and giving. So today when we are again talking of this portal through virtual, through faceless process, it is advisable to be on the safer side instead of on the, if I don't want to call it the dangerous side, vulnerable side.
So, point noted, sir.
Thank you.
Next is a question which I asked, but I would again register it since it is
Please.
CAM Ramji,
Yeah.
where registration under society registration has been lost due to non-filing of annual documents. But returns are filed under the trust regularly. Will there be difficulty in getting registration? We already have a 12-year registration.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique question. I would compliment CA Ramji to bring out this. Just like we spoke earlier about the non-availability of the 12-year certificate, there is also the non-availability of the registered society certificate. I don't want to take your time, but just in less than a minute, I would like to speak of a case where in the 40s, when the society was registered and it was going on very well, and the same thing has happened. They lost the certificate. They went to the court, and the court asked, "Are you somewhere between which number?" So the trustees remembered some number. They said between this and this number, 10 and 15. And then they said, "Can you go closer?" Then they said, "I think it must be 14. With 13, they don't like it." So 14. Then the court published one notification to the public. Anybody objecting for the court to allot this number, any other court, any other society with this number? No answer came. Court gave that number and certificate. I'm sharing today what is happening, because this is the reality. But here is a case, CA Ramji's. The certificate is missing for non-filing of the returns, he says. Non-filing of the returns under the Societies Act, he says.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I right,
Yes,
CA
sir.
Rajesh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what
Ana, see, non-filing nala vandu, enna avan vandu 3 years file pannalina, what they would have done, they would have kind of deactivated, அதாவது defunct னு போட்டிருப்பான். Defunct. ஆனா certificate இருக்கணுமே. Certificate இருக்கணும். Certificate இல்லைனா அது வேற விஷயம். Defunctனா that is a different matter. That is a different matter. If certificate is not there, that should not be an issue for the 12A, because we can still say that we have been assessed and then we have been going on. But defunct, then that can pose some problem, because income tax will say under the authority under which you are constituted, you are declared defunct, like in the case of a company. So how can we allot? If they get that information, they can object. So I would like to go quickly to the solution. We have got so many societies. God alone knows when the last return was filed. But recently, last 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, like that, they filed because they have genuine documents. They have conducted meetings, governing body, general body, and they have a lot of activities going on. Just that part was missed out. They have got it back. It goes to the secretary, government of Tamil Nadu, then go to the minister. It is been condoned, and society is very well going on now. That is just for your information. May not be breaking the news for you, because there are quite a few who got it like that and brought everything under proper compliance. I hope I'm given some satisfactory answer. If not, feel free to come back, CA Ramji.
Yes, sir. We'll wait for Ramji's rejoinder shortly.
Okay, sure.
So the next question is, which is more beneficial, 1023C6A or section 12AB for a medical hospital?
Yeah. Interesting question. Interesting question. There are families who only had sons and they want daughters, and the vice versa. I wish I had a daughter, parents saying, and I wish I had one son, parents saying. Here is a situation very clear, that is, if you go for 1023C option route, either 6 for education or 6A for medical, then that is that's a exclusive exemption. That is not a general exemption. Whereas 12A AA or now the 12AB is a general. You can have any charitable activity within the definition of section 215 and you can have your exemption. So this is the biggest difference between the two. Of course, some bring certain things. For example, in 12AB route or the former 12A11 route, there is 11(1)(c) expenditure outside the country, specifically prohibited unless you get the board approval. Whereas in 1023C, there was no such prohibition. And also there are court cases like the American Hotel Association, etc., who said that you can still have activities outside. So there are some advantages like that. But the advantages like that, in my experience of last 4 decades, are minimum. The advantages of general exemption under 11 route, which encompasses all type of activities, under 215, what are they? Starting right from the relief of the poor to education, medical relief, etc., etc. And that section 215 in some other countries, 28 limbs are there, like in the United States. And 17 limbs are there in some other country like the Philippines. So I expect that 215 to get added with more and more list. Yoga got added, as you know, in 2015. And then the monuments got added. Cultural got added. So I expect that to get added. It is only my humble opinion that in 12A or 12AB, that is 11 route, you are wider and possibly you are safer. Whereas there, if the department picks up one activity as a non-educational, I'll tell you example. During tsunami time, some colleges spent on tsunami. Department picked up and said, this is not education. And Chennai is known for floods, as you know. Chennai, 2015 floods and other floods. And when the educational body cannot be muted body, when people are dying and people are, even right now, for example, some of the institutions in Chennai, I'm sure in Coimbatore also, they brought thousands of corona patients into their campus and they took care of them in the first wave. Now, that is not educational activity, that is a social activity. So I apprehend problems, or I apprehend restrictions, a body can be muted, watching like a spectator, unable to utilize its resources, money or manpower when there is a calamity. So I prefer, I recommend 12AB and not 1023C, but that is only my opinion.
Thank you, but we'll just hold on, sir. We'll allow the other speaker to speak and then we will continue again. Sir,
are there more questions, moderator?
Yes, sir. There are a lot of questions coming in. So
okay.
My request would be that I don't want the other speaker to be kept waiting.
Oh, no. I also render a sincere apology.
No, sir, nothing to apologize, sir.
No.
We'll just ask him to address them. Please kindly wait, sir. I will again go through the questions and again come back.
Okay.
Please, kindly wait with us.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request CAS Prabhu, Chairman of ICAI, to introduce Company Secretary G. Vasudevan. Sir, please unmute yourself and
thank you, CA Rajesh. Am I audible, Rajesh?
yes, sir, loud and clear.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we had a wonderful session by CA Kandasamy, sir. I thank him for this excellent session. Now it is the turn of our good friend CS Vasudevan to enlighten us a little more further. The CS Vasudevan is a BCom graduate. He's also a company secretary and also an advocate by profession. He's also insolvency and registered insolvency professional and registered valuer too. He became the fellow member of ICAI 18 years before and has got an overall industry experience of more than 24 years. He's been registered with the IBBA as a qualified insolvency professional and is presently handling the voluntary liquidation cases. In fact, the highest number of cases in the whole of South India and most number of insolvency resolution cases in South India. He's also a qualified registered valuer as the first person in Coimbatore region and is presently a qualified registered valuer in securities and financial assets and is carrying out valuation exercises for mergers, corporate restructurings, insolvency cases, and other company law matters. Apart from that, he's also an eligible person to act as an independent director too. He's a certified CSR professional to advise on corporate social responsibility matters and is currently advising many companies on CSR matters. He specialized in company law, FEMA, drafting of corporate legal documents and business contracts. He's also specialized in compliances with the Reserve Bank of India guidelines and regulations and registrations of SEZs, STPAs, and other special industry incentive schemes in India. CS Vasudevan is also director in the GVA Corporate Advisory Solutions Limited, a company providing high-end corporate services, including corporate restructuring, structuring, takeovers, mergers, and demergers. He was also chairman of the Coimbatore chapter of Institute of Company Secretaries of India during the year 2011. Prior to that, he held most of the posts in the institute, like the posts of the treasurer, secretary, vice chairman of the Coimbatore chapter of ICSI. He's a regular speaker in various forums organized by ICSI, ICAI, colleges, NGOs, and authored a lot of articles on the topics relating to the company law. He's a passionate academician representing the board of studies of many prestigious institutions in all of Tamil Nadu. This professionally envious profile, I will request my good friend Vasudevan to commence his presentation. Vasudevan, over to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, CA Prabhu, sir, for introducing me for this August audience. I thank Dr. Kandaswamy, sir, for giving a wonderful presentation. He made my job very simple. Hope everybody is hearing me.
Sir, loud and clear.
Is it audible, sir?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Is it audible?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Can you able to see my presentation also?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Yes, sir. So thank you, sir. So today, Kandaswamy sir has made my presentation simple because MCA is just now entering into this NGO thing. NGO, earlier it was not at all controlled by MCA. So now, what the MCA want to do is, Kandaswamy sir, during his presentation, he was telling me the number of NGOs, how many is there, nobody knows. That the MCA want to know first. How many number of NGOs in India who want to receive CSR funds? That's the prime motive of this registration. So that's why they have started with a very, very simple registration form. But the form is very simple, but unless and otherwise, whatever the complications, Kandaswamy say, the company has to come across all those things and they have to brought to the table before us as a professionals. Then only we can register with MCA. Just I'll glance through my presentation. Yeah, today I'll be glancing through what are all the requirements of an NGO which requires a registration with MCA. What are all the key process involved and the key points as a statutory auditor they have to look into. This, if the time permits, I'll cover, otherwise I'll restrict my presentation. Hitherto just MCA, hitherto the CSR was introduced during the 2014. It was a spend or explain concept. Now, they are slowly shifting to.
Sir, if I may interrupt, sir, can you change it to full presentation mode so the members can see the presentation full, sir?
Yeah, certainly, sir.
PowerPoint can be just made. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Till now, till 22nd of January 2021, it was a spend or explain. Now, they have made it as spend or get penalized. So it's very, very essential we as a professionals to advise the clients. During the year, everybody is suffering with the cash flows or cash situation. I think it's a hard thing move from the government. Anyway, we have to follow this. So this is the present provision. Just I want to try to explain in a flowchart manner. So if the company has, say, certain amount to be spent, if they are not spending before 31/3/21, they have two choices or two options. If they have any ongoing project, then they have to open a bank account and it has to be deposited before 30th of April. That is another week's time with them. So from that, they have a 3 years time to spend that amount which they have deposited in that bank account. Or otherwise they have not spent or they have not identified any ongoing project, then they have to transfer those funds within 6 months, that is within 30th of September, they have to transfer to a designated government funds like Prime Minister Fund or as Chief Minister Fund. The government will designate those funds. So this is the present situation now. So as a professionals, we have to advise the clients. Most of the clients, we have to advise them because they are in the verge of thing. Most of the companies, they have to do CSR hitherto. They have most of the companies, they have not done any CSR. So now let me move on to that CSR implementation position prior to this amendment. What was there till now before 22/1/21? So the company can do CSR directly or through any of the eligible, either say Section 8 company or registered trust or society established by a private parties or established by the company or established by the government, central government or state government, or established under any of the act and having a track record of 3 years. This was the position till January. Now the government has made a small addition to this. It's very, very important thing. That's where the things come. The company may undertake a CSR activity singly or jointly with Section 8 company or a registered trust or registered society registered under Section 12A and 80G of the income tax, and not or. So both they should have registered with both 12A as well as 80G of the income tax act. Then only they are permitted to receive the CSR funds. So this is where our importance very much comes, because a lot of problems either to the trusts or NGOs are having with most of the NGOs. They have not registered. Either they might have registered with 12A or some might have registered with 80G. But the practical issues, lot of issues are come as Kandaswamy are explaining. The registration with the MCA is very, very simple, but all those things what they are asking for the registration is very, very difficult for the client to give, the trust or a society or the Section 8 company to give those things. And one more thing is, we as professionals, either a company secretary or chartered accountant or cost accountant, we have to give a certification that we have verified the document, and it's an immediate process because once we file the form, it immediately get approved by the system and the straight through process, and the registration number is allotted immediately. But we have to take the responsibility. So this is what just I was telling, that CSR1 form has to be verified by the professionals and it has to be filed with the MCA. So the requirements are for a trust. So please be given note on each of the things, because each and every one item has a complication. Because at least 4 or 5 trusts came to me for registration. Each and every one has a different, peculiar kind of issues. What they are asking is, actually these are all the not attachments. We have to verify and certify that they are having, the trust or a society or a company having all these primary documents. So in case of a trust, we have to verify the principal deeds and all the subsequent trust deeds. Then copy of the registration certificate under 12A. Then copy of registration certificate under Section 80G. Then track record for the past 3 years. So the proof we have to verify. Then the copy of the PAN card. This is a mandatory attachment we have to attach along with the registration certificate of the trust. Then email ID. Then email ID is mandatory for a trust, because as we all know, it's a OTP era. We live in an OTP era. A OTP will come and that has to be entered in the form for registration purpose. So these are all the information that has to, because form is a very simple 2-page form, but all the information has to be collected before we do the registration process. So that this thing is very tedious, as Kandaswamy sir said. In case of Section 8 company, so they require a registration certificate, memorandum, then as usual these 12A, 18G certificates. Then we have to verify the track record for them, their PAN card. So these are all the requirements for Section 8 company. Then in case of a cooperative society, their bylaws, then their registration certificate instead of the trust deed or a Section 8 certificate. So all the rest of the documents are the same. So I'll show you just a glimpse of the form also, so that it will be easier. Hope everybody is able to see this one. Yes. Rajesh sir? Rajesh sir, the form is visible? The form is visible?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet open, sir.
Oh.
Please click.
Oh, okay. But for me it's just opened, okay.
So then you have to probably switch the window.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now it's open.
Okay. So as I said earlier, the form is very simple. It's a 2-page document, totally 3 pages. In 1 page, we have to give all our declarations. So initially, the selection is 5 criteria they are talking about. One is the company established under Section 8 with the 12A, then registered public trust, registered society, then company established. Just a radial button selection we have to do. Then whether the entity is established by the company or its group company. So as I said earlier, this is only for the purpose of information collection about the NGOs or a trust or society which are carrying out the CSR activity. So I think this is the initial database for the MCA to flow back the information. I don't know how many of you have seen the CSR portal of the government, csr.gov.in. If you have time to check in the portal, please go and check in csr.gov.in, wherein the hell a lot of information there. Last 5 years, the minute by minute information like that, how many companies, how many crores of amount spending, how many amount, which area they have spent, like that. Lot of information is given. It's a beautiful database, district wise, state wise, area wise. Even a company we can select. If you have a client, you can go into that their website and select that how many years the company has done. All those information is available in the website. But on the flip side, for NGO who has the implementation agency who has got the funds, the government don't know that information. Now they want to collect that information. So first hand information they want to collect from this one. I think certainly they will enlarge this form once the time passes on. This is the basic information they require. just a type of existing entity, whether it's a company or a trust or society. We have to give the basic. In case of a company, we have to give us SIN number, then address. Address of the entity, present address we have to give. In case of a trust or a society, date of registration we have to give. As Kathasamy sir was referring, a company it was registered in 2052 AD. Which date we have to give? That's a very, very difficult question. Then the details of the board of trustees or chairman, CEO, again the designations. Designation, the MCA visualized is director, trustee, CEO, chairperson, secretary or authorized representative. If they have multiple designations or something like that, we can select the authorized representative and we can simply give that the thing. So for details of board of trustees or directors, we can, all of them we have to give. If we have to give 4 or 5 means, if we give means it will extend this. It will 4 will come. Like that. For all the trustees we have to give. Then we have to attach the copy of the registration certificate and PAN card. Then the authorized person has to sign, digitally sign the form. And see the certification by the professional. So as usual, we have to undertake that we have verified all the documents. We are certifying, and finally that last line, if we are also for wrong certification, that section 448 deals with the falsification of document and fraud. So the MCA want in all the forms, they will put this section 448. So this is a very, very simple form with a 3-page document, but lot of, if you say 12A to 80G, then lot of issues are there. Most of the things I have seen, whatever the 4 or 5 societies they came to me, all were having problem. One, they don't have a proper address. For one, they don't have a proper list of trustees because the trustee deed was old. Now later on, few trustees were added up, but they have not changed the further additional trustee. So these are all the issues I think we may face, and we have to evolve and we have to give the information on these things. I'll just give a glimpse on I'll spend 1 or 2 minutes on this, and I'll give opportunity to all to give your raise your questions on the topic. So as a statutory auditor, if you are auditing the company which are how to do the CSR, the auditor has to check the supporting documents for the amount they have sent. This I have taken from the guidance note issued by the IC. It's a beautiful guidance note. They have given almost more than 100-page technical guide which contains even entries, how the entries to be passed, all these things. I think certainly you might have had a lot of sessions on this. So these are all just few basic points we have to look in as a statutory auditor. Whether the company has done a disclosure on the CSR budget or obligation for the year, spent amount, unspent amount in the financial year. Then the CSR expenses being goods incurred and kind. Actually, this is one area, it's a big area of debate. If the company is giving goods, because a textile manufacturing or a garment manufacturing company, they are giving their products as a CSR, how to value it and how to account it. This is one area. Then CSR expenses being a services shall be recorded at cost. This we have to ensure as an auditor. Then the administrative expenses incurred for a CSR, it should not exceed 5% of the total CSR expenditure. And surplus from CSR spend shall not form part of business profit. then assets purchased for CSR shall not be held in company's name. So these are all the things as a statutory auditor we have to look in before certifying with respect to CSR, because it's in the coming years CSR certification, I think in statutory audit it will be a part of a thing auditor has to mandatorily has to go through and give a certification on statutory also. Now as we are doing for internal financial controls. Then general obligations, like the auditor has to ensure the net profit calculation, that the CSR amount spent not to be included in the calculation of net profit, and the activity or a project. Anyway, this is up to the company to give the statement or undertaking that they have spent within the limit habit of the CSR. Based on their certification, we are going to give our certificate. CSR expenses to be accounted in P&L account, and no provision shall be created for unspent amount, and ensure that the amount spent shall be within the budget amount. So these are all certain points that has to be taken care while doing a CSR audit. So apart from, I thought I can use this opportunity to give just a glimpse of what we have to do, was because CSR is going to be a very, very big area for us as a professional, and it's going to be a dancer area also, because the MCA is taking a very, very keen thing, because they are sending notices to most of the companies. Even couple of years back also they have started sending notices for the companies, those who have not spent, or they are giving a standard pattern of replies in their annual reports. In going forward, I think this thing will continue. So as a professional, we have to be very, very careful in this. Then with respect to registration of NGOs, I think I have just covered or glanced through whatever thing required, because the requirement of MCA is simple, that they want they want the number of NGOs, they want basic record, that's all. But before that, we have a lot of things, as Kandaswamy sir said, certainly a registration thing or their ATG certificates. All those things they have to brought in for the verification of verification for us for the certification. Then only we can finally do this MCA registration. So I think I have covered the most of the things given to me, the topics given to me. I think I am open for questions.
Yes, sir. Thank you, CS Vasudevan. Though this is a very small beginning, as you have rightly pointed out, this is going to open up a big window for most of the professionals. But one has to wonder, I don't know if I'm right in observing, why should MCA look into a trust and monetary application when the funds are spent? You look at the company level, why should they still go down and poke its nose into trust, which is not its forte? Just observing for the purpose of things.
Yes, sir.
So they are probably exceeding their whatever remit.
Correct.
Regarding the observation you said, sir, regarding new trustees, see, most of the trustees don't make changes to their trustees by registering it somewhere. So usually it will be minuted. So probably will I be right to ask that if I provide a copy of the minutes, will it be sufficient for a CS or a CA to?
Yes, sir. I think that's the solution I made to one of my client in this regard, because they don't have a fresh trust deed. So I told them, at least you bring minutes to us, because this being the first year and this is only a first one-time registration process, we have to ensure that all their initial registrations are proper. Because even any problem comes on a future date.
Sorry,
yes, sir. Any problem comes on a future dates, we are responsible. Yes, sir, please.
Yes, sir. No, the point is, when they made it 3 years and then ATG, first 12A, then ATG and 3 years, then probably most of them, because CSR came recently, most of them would have formed their own trusts. They might not have all crossed 3 years. So probably this will they made out their own CSR trust, and now they will be forced to look outward. Look at other trusts.
Sir, actually for own trust, this 3-year track record is not applicable, sir. If the company has formed their own trust, then this 3-year track record is not applicable. And if they are dealing through an implementation agency outside trust, then this is applicable.
Oh, you're meaning to say that if it is their own trust specifically formed for this purpose, the 3-year track record, 12A ATG is not required.
Yeah, yes.
The 12A might be required. So ATG is not applicable.
Sorry, come again.
12A is, we should have applied for 12A, but ATG is not applicable.
Okay. Okay, if it is a
CSR specific,
form for exclusively for the company.
CSR specific.
Yes.
The floor is open for questions. If there are, please
Rajesh,
post your
I think
questions, or you can even unmute yourself and post. Hello? Yes.
Rajesh, some questions are
Yes,
posted
sir.
by Priya and Ramji. Can we take?
Yes.
And Prabhu sir has also.
Then we have to request Mr. Kandasamy, Dr. Kandasamy, to come back so we can take both questions simultaneously. Sir, Kandasamy.
Yes, sir. He can enlighten us more to us on the subject. Dr. Kandasamy sir can enlighten more on this because he has more than 40 years of experience.
Sir, I think he is not yet on.
Okay, sir. Any questions, sir?
I will just go through the questions, sir. We wait for Kandasamy sir has come. Sir, sir, can I start, sir? Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, I will go with the further questions and then, yes, sir. This is 1 minute. I'll just go up, sir. Yes, sir. This is from Priya Bansali again, sir. CA Priya Bansali. What if the amount is not spent before 31/3/21, but spent before the third quarter? Is it okay? I think this question is relating to CSR. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Vasudevan, sir, the question is.
Yes. If the amount is spent, the amount has to be spent during the financial year. So if it is third quarter, means it's well and good. Third quarter means it's December, is it? Period ended December.
Spent before 30th September, is it okay? That's what she's asking.
What Priya madam is asking is actually we are supposed to spend before 31st March. If we are not spent, we should have transferred the amount to the designated account.
Yes.
If not before 30th September, we can transfer it to the government account or whatever is the specific account. These are the two options.
Yes, sir. That's what you can verify.
Third option, I have not spent before 31/3, but before 30th September, I have spent on a project. That means what I presume is I have not opened a specific account, but I have spent on the project itself. Is that okay?
No, sir. As of now, the Act says is you have to spend before 31st of March. Otherwise, you have selected any ongoing project, then you have to open a separate account and it has to be deposited within 30th of April. Otherwise, you have to deposit that amount before 30th of September. So only two options are available, not the third one.
Hope that answers that query. So,
yes, sir.
May I now request Kandasamy sir to come on, sir? The next question is for you, sir.
Yeah, please. Please, see Rajesh. I'm here.
Sir, this speaker, sir, this is from.
I'm there. Am I audible? I'm back. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Okay.
Rajesh. Sir, I will present the question for you, sir.
Surely. Please.
Very senior member CSK Prabhu.
Okay.
Dear speaker, sir, nice presentation. it is advisable to include along with the class. Is it advisable to include along with the class irrevocable other classes like dissolution, beneficiary class, amendment class, utilization, clauses in the trust deed which are granted 12A
Okay.
50 years before do not have these clauses?
Yeah.
Can it
yeah.
be through unregistered supplementary trust deed? We have understood that we are not in the island of prosperity, but in the ocean of poverty of knowledge. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much for your generous comment, sir. CA Prabhu, I remember, if it's not out of context, when we wanted to have an outreach program in Coimbatore with the Commissionerate of Exemption, you took that time together with your team members such a lot of initiative. Am I right in my memory?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so
Indian Chamber of Commerce.
I very fondly remember this, and I thank you once again for such a wonderful effort. Yes, you are right. This is a very, historical issue. As you know, as we all know, perhaps in 1973, when the Form 10A came, it was only the form that was required, filled or not filled, or not fully filled. It was accepted, and either an acknowledgement was given, or the form was stamped, or one line 12A granted, something like that. So we have started there, and naturally, many bodies did not have these provisions. After all, many of these provisions came into the statute much later, requiring the non-profits to be adhering to various requirements. But today, your question is a very, very valid question. I was constituted at that time. There was no such requirement. Like I said, in AD 52, there was no law. So today, when you are uploading this trust deed, what can happen? What can happen? Yeah. If you strictly go by the 12AB and read with the amendment in the 12AA, etc., they should not question anything. If you go to the section 12AB, it says only for the subsequent renewal, questions will be asked. For the current renewal, first one, no question is supposed to be asked. Similarly, for the provisional also, no question is supposed to be asked. But our experience in the last, decades are well known that when questions were not to be asked also, we were asked questions. So I have an apprehension. Today, when an officer is reviewing the uploaded trust deed, and if he doesn't find a clause for irrevocability, he doesn't find a clause for 11.5, he doesn't find a clause for, the, let us say, account closure of account or whatever, I'm apprehensive that there is a possibility of rejection. Unfortunately, when you go through the amended law and also the rules, the amended rules, nowhere there is any opportunity to ask us for a rectified submission. In the physical framework, they used to give, even in the electronic form 10A, they used to give us an opportunity, saying that 3 opportunities, and one single notice, but 3 opportunities. And we were able to rectify, and we were able to get the 10A order, 12A order, 12AA order. But I don't see such opportunity in the portal today. Only the opportunity will be that when subsequently, when they find out that it has been by wrong information or wrong document, it will be cancelled. It's like the 12AA3 and 12AA4. Now it is 12AB4 and 12AB5. So I am little apprehensive, or quite apprehensive, if there is a possibility to to make a amendment deed, another deed, and upload it, since there is time still up to June 30th. I think it is advisable. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much, sir. In fact, I remember also the interaction that we had 2 years back. And is it advisable to register that particular trust deed, or when the original trust deed is registered?
Yeah.
Is it advisable to trust, or is it a must to register that supplementary trust deed also?
Yeah. Good question. Good question. Very practical. See, no law says you should register, because you are not transferring any property, for example, under the Transfer of Property Act or the Indian Registration Act to mandatorily register. You are only making simple amendment to fall under the amended law, new provisions that came recently. There is no mandatory need. But look at the practicality. Anything you apply today to any government agency, we have to give the number, registration number. Gas application to phone application to anything, we have to give a registration number. So what we are doing today, even unregistered trust or mere signature trust or a notarized trust, we are registering and getting a number, So looking at the practicality, I have tried to justify to, any number of authorities in Tamil Nadu, in South India, in Jharkhand, in Bihar and Kolkata. When there is no number, they don't open the eyes. So looking at that, I would perhaps recommend that, you register the amendment. In fact, some people have registered exactly to get the number. I explained to you one case, with the multi-crore properties they acquired over 3 decades. They have to register the trust, because unless they registered, one government in North India refused to give the government recognition for the schools that are already going on for 25 years. They had to register and give the number. If not, they said you register a society and come back to us. So this is the reality today.
But once you register, it becomes a public document, sir. Now, a charitable trust, a public charitable trust, is to be registered because it should be a public document available for the Right Information Act or something else. For them, what is the activity? Therefore, I think it is advisable to do it. But one question, sir, now we execute the supplementary deed and apply for this, and you have time for registration of 4 months. Can we do it in the next 2? Because the trustees may be located all over the country.
Yeah. Absolutely. You are free to do it up to 30th of June, because the time for filing is there for us up to 30th of June. After that, they have 3 months time to pass the order.
Yeah.
So, now it's very clear. 3 time limits are given: 3 months, 6 months, 1 month. 3 months is for the current revalidation or re-registration or renewal. 6 months is for the subsequent renewals, and 1 month is for the provisionals. It's very clear there in the Act, amended Act. So therefore, you are free to do any rectification or any validation until the last date. But it's not advisable, though. Better we do it as early as possible. But you have the time, because I know that trustees are in this COVID situation. How can they come to one place if the sub-registrar is insisting that all these trustees must come? Yeah, you know that yourself, for opening the bank account, as our moderator was saying, many cases trustees were asked to come to the bank, and some trustees included government officials, IAS officials, in one case governor. So the bank said you should come to me and then sign in front of me. You can imagine. These are all live cases going on just now. So my suggestion is make effort as soon as possible, well before the last date.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome.
Sir,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
my quick question, sir.
Sure.
Number 1, what about the pending application? Number 2, if the author is there, no longer alive, should I mention in the application? Number 3, by any contingency whatsoever, if I am not able to apply before 30th June, what is the natural justice given under law?
On the first one, that is what happens to the pending applications. I understand in Tamil Nadu, it is my personal knowledge. From November onwards, they are pending. November, December, January, February, March, they're pending. Thousands. You can understand other parts of the country where there is a single commissioner for 2 states and 3 states. Like, in Tamil Nadu, we have 1 commissioner for Tamil Nadu. We have Kerala, 1 commissioner, whereas in Andhra, it is Andhra and Odisha together 1 commissioner. Now, thousands of this. As you know, the law says they will fall into the new regime. That is under the provisional. Now, subclass 6 of 12 AC 1. Now, the problem is for those who don't have much turnover or they have no big asset purchased during the last financial year, it may not make a big difference practically. But for those who have already got some asset bought, I know there are people who bought land because land was going off. They were not able to hold on. I know there were people who had to make corpus donations. What happens to them? That is a question. But fortunately, there is a way forward. As you all know, there is a way forward. That is, if provisional is given, quite likely because they are not supposed to ask any question like the revalidation, then 12.2 comes into operation. 12 subsection 2 comes into operation. You know the long story there. In the beginning, in 1 year time, you have to apply for a non-profit to get its 12A, and from 1 June 2000 onwards, that was removed. And then from again November 2014 onwards, what has happened? You can apply, and from that year onwards, you are eligible for exemption. That is the law currently, until 31st of March 21. Now, under that law, when they had applied from the amended law in 2014 onwards, if you got registration for the current financial year, you are eligible for the exemption for the past years, and they are not supposed to open under 148, reopen any assessment. You are aware of the 12.2. So that is a kind of a, how can I say,
Trial.
a kind of a, ray of hope, or it's a good way forward. We can say I got my registration and I'm eligible under 12.2 exemption for the past years. I hope I have answered this
Yes, sir.
sufficiently.
Yes, sir.
Sir, if the author is no more alive.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm missing that. See, the portal, they are not asking about, the authorship, only the trustees, who are the trustees. Unlike in the other one, they were separately asking, author and afterwards trustees. Here it's only the trustees. So I do not think there is a need for it, provided that currently the trust or any entity has got a set of people who are officially available as a in charge of governance, because I know there are cases where nobody is there. The society is there, but no members are there. There are some cases like that, unfortunately. Or there may be some are acting on it, but there is nobody, according to the Register of Societies records, nobody. So this is not a case like that. So there's no problem. I do not see any problem. And what is in the event of not able to come into the new regime, not able to get the registration, I apprehend quite a few issues. Number one, that it will be an unregistered AOP after this period. And I don't want to go back to the cancellation, voluntary withdrawal, which you are aware. If you Google Tata Trust, you will get stories and stories. How the Tata Trust wanted to voluntarily withdraw, they were not allowed. After the 115 TD came into operation, then they cancelled it, saying we have the right to cancel it. You have no right to voluntarily withdraw, etc. So 115 TD is hanging, and 115 is the accreted income tax. You know the rate there. Market value on the market value of assets. For these are for those entities who have got assets. Those entities who don't have, it's not a big issue. But for those who have income and assets, for both of them, there is a high risk if we are not falling into the regime, 12AB regime.
And if there are no further questions, with thanks to both the speakers.
I will take a minute just to compliment also CA Vasudevan. It is I'm not here to comment on the topic, but I'm here to comment on the the role of the CSR. The need for the CSR today for the NPOs is very high. I say this because in the past, non-profits had two major sources. One is government source, state government and central government. You are familiar how many orphanages are run with the social welfare board support, etc. And another source that was going on was the foreign contributions. And you are aware both are now low. Foreign contributions, because those economies are struggling. There you, even if FCRA is strict, we are not able to open an account easily today. Even
Yes.
if you succeed in all that, the money that is going to come is not going to be great. And government grants, both at the central level, at the state level, are highly decreasing. We are aware of this, not only for NGOs, even for education sector, for the government, aided institutions. So in this context, the CSR is a big support, and therefore I greatly appreciate the, combining this with my topic, because my topic is only will give you just an entry, you know.
Yes.
perhaps you will get only a license இப்ப வாங்கிடலாம் இல்லையா?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't want to say
Yes, sir.
RTO ஆபீஸ்க்கு போகாதே வாங்கிடலாமான்னு தெரியல, but license வாங்கிடலாம். Yeah, but you need a vehicle to drive. So the CSR role is a big role, and I also want to appreciate and thanks for complimenting this by CA Vasudevan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
And on my side,
Thank
I'm
you.
absolutely grateful to you, Chairman Ravi Shankar, and all of your officials of the association, a long living association, and also the SIRC branch of Coimbatore, to the chairman and each of the office bearers. I have many colleagues and elders and friends in Coimbatore. To all of you, my sincere thanks and gratitude. I wish you best in getting all approvals, 100%.
Thank you, sir. Please hold on.
Yes,
There's
sir.
another
So
question
I
for you,
thank
sir.
the.
Sir,
Yes.
just now, please wait for 1 minute. There's one more question for you, sir. Sorry.
Okay,
Let's not disappoint our CA Sanjay Shah.
Not at all. Please
Yes,
go ahead, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. A trust having a 12A registration but does not have an 80G registration.
Okay.
Can they renew 12A and apply for a fresh 80G in the same application?
Fantastic question. There are hundreds like this. They only had 12A. They did not apply for 80G. Some did not apply because they did not feel the need for it. Some did not apply because they apprehended. They felt the need department to scrutinize because of if it is 12A, the scrutiny was a little less in the past. 80G it was more, so they did not apply. I feel now is a good time because 12A you have supposed to be automatic. 80G you can come under the provisional without any query. It's only for 3 years. That's fine. After that, we can go for renewal for 5 years. So therefore, it's a fantastic question. I would certainly recommend that you go for revalidating or renewing the 12A and apply for the provisional 80G.
Thank you, sir. May I now ask CAD Nagakumar, Secretary ICAI, to propose a vote of thanks. President,
Rajesh,
hope we can adjourn.
Say, Rajesh, can I have one suggestion for the speaker? Can I
Yes,
give
sir.
one?
Please, sir. Please proceed, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, this is a suggestion, sir.
Yes, please.
Now, you referred that Trust Act is 1982 Act only applicable to the private trust.
Absolutely.
There is absolutely no law for a public charitable trust.
Absolutely.
Only by way of a Supreme Court decision, the essence of the private trust is also applicable for a public charitable trust, which is now going. Effectively, if you speak, only the Income Tax Act controls the charitable trust, etc. Now, that irrevocable clause, I believe that it is also not there in the Act as such. And I was told that any declaration of trust itself is irrevocable, and some revocation clause is permitted only for a private trust, which is mentioned in the Act. The revocation is possible only under the Civil Procedure Code, under Section 92 of the CPC. Therefore, my suggestion that your good office can give to the departments that by rejecting for absence of a irrevocable clause would only promote litigation, and I think they can be given an opportunity for including that revocable clause within certain time as per the condition which they are going to put it in the order. This is one suggestion, sir.
Okay.
Second suggestion is that 115 TD now it is very high rate as well as it is on the fair market value of the assets of the trust.
Yes.
It's a surrogate way of charging a capital gain, sir. Suppose if there is an order like that, and if it goes to the Supreme Court, I feel that it may not sustain.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you are charging the capital gain, not the tax saved. The object of the TD is to only to whatever the tax saved on the exempt income is to be paid, but not on the appreciation and the capital gains. This is my suggestion. In fact, in a trade bodies also we have made representation, but so far nothing has moved. This is my suggestion, sir.
Yeah. I would like to humbly appreciate these two thoughts. The first one, I totally agree. In fact, we can even take a stand. Nowhere in the law you are asking anything further than what is happening already under the 12AA.
Yes.
You see, nowhere, and law is very clear. Subclass 1 says commissioner only, the department only has to renew, revalidate. It's not asking about commissioner asking queries. It's not asking about commissioner examining the genuineness of the trust. It's not asking about commissioner going into the activities and the objectives, etc. Nothing. So we can straight away ask in that, which is true. And that's because in the past, we never thought, we never had COVID in the past. We had tsunami, we had earthquake, we had everything. But today is COVID. So very true. Similarly, second one is a very, if you permit me to say, I'm nobody to say, but if you permit me to say in an audience like this, it's a very unfair section. A charity losing 12A under certain frivolous grounds and facing the high risk of entire properties being taxed at the fair market value. Just imagine, I do not know why this kind of sections are allowed. And one very serious comment made is income tax department is controlling charities. I'm not saying income tax department should not, but who should control charities itself is a question. If you look up other countries like England, for example, you may be familiar, there is a commission called Charity Commission. It's a single window. All others fall under that. So you go to the Google and see charities administration. I had contributed to the Planning Commission of India in 2004, if I remember. If you go to Google, you will see a big report, whereby the government asked for good suggestions for a holistic approach to charity administration, but the report was kept aside as usual, like many other, like you said, recommendations. But at the same time, on the positive note, when our department, when our institute has taken up certain issues, I had a privilege of sharing ideas for advocacy. So here and there, they have taken it up, here and there. For example, FCRA, if you remember, multiple bank account was not allowed in the past, and then the amendment of new law of 2010 brought the multiple bank account for operating foreign contribution. Our institute was a party at that time to give the submission. I had the privilege of writing that, the whole appeal. So any appeal from an association like ours, 1940 onwards, you will soon, in few years, you will be celebrating centenary, and SIRC and ICAI should give this appeal, In my personal capacity as CA Prabhu knows and some others know, we have conducted 20 years long, we have conducted what is called outreach program, and not only we, hundreds and thousands of trustees have came together, represented, and some of them have been considered, not all of them. So I would urge you, I'll be very happy. For example, for Tamil Nadu public trust withdrawal, I had contributed, for example, many people even from Coimbatore area and the US there, and their children are trustees here in Indian Trust, and they were disqualified to be trustees. So beautiful points were presented, and they were all helpful for the withdrawal of the Tamil Nadu public trust bill. So like that, I welcome any, advocacy, lobbying, appeal to the authorities for simplifying the compliance area of the non-profit. I can only say as another person, as a person in this area, I can join you all. So I'm sorry I took a little more time because I'm quite passionate about this area that, not to complicate compliance, but simplify compliance. Because after all, not all NPOs want to violate. NPOs want to comply, but they are finding it difficult, you know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you all. It was a very, very interesting, interactive session. We thank both the speakers, the president, secretary, and the office bearers of the association. It was a very interactive one. Now over to CAD Nagakumar for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Very good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Audible, Rajesh, sir?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. I, on behalf of Coimbatore branch of SCRCF ICAI and also on behalf of TASI, I thank the great person, the speaker of the first session, Mr. C.A. Kandasamy sir from Chennai, for delivering such a great address, sir. He's addressing in a very excellent manner. It is in a very lovable manner. The way of delivery was really excellent. So you explained the changes in the Income Tax Act with respect to the charitable trust. That too, in particular, of the re-registration of the trust is very, very superb, sir. I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
There were several persons they can explain, but the way you explained is very slowly, simply, and easily understandable to each and every one, sir. So you explained various points. We have discussed a lot of points, sir. I wholeheartedly thank the speaker, Mr. C.A. Kandasamy, sir, for delivering your wonderful address. Thank you very much, Kandasamy, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm absolutely grateful. Thank you so much.
I also thank the second session speaker, Mr. G. Vasudevan, sir, Company Secretary, for explaining the manner of registration of CSR Trust with MCA. He explained elaborately and practically. I wholeheartedly thank the speaker, Mr. CSG Vasudevan, sir. Thank you very much, Vasudevan, sir. I thank the program chairman and moderator, my good friend CAL Rajesh, sir, for organizing such a wonderful program that is in the current scenario. It is very, very important, and everyone is a needy one. It's needy for everyone. Thank you, Rajesh, sir. I also thank all the participants of the webinar and request to make use of the webinar in the days which follows. I thank the webinar admin, Mr. Rajkumar, and also the TASI staff, Satish, for coordinating for the webinars like this. I request all the members to participate and encourage us by attending in larger numbers. On behalf of TASI and ICA Coimbatore, I thank all the members for their active participation. I thank C.A. Ravishankar, sir, TASI President, and also the Secretary, Venkatesh, sir, and my friend Rajesh, the moderator of the session, for giving me a great opportunity for me. Again, I thank the speakers of this session, Mr. Kandasamy, sir, and Vasudevan, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, one and all. We adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you, and all the best. Thank you.